And now for your warm-up act, the Mr. Josh Whitehead.
Thank you. Good evening, Factory Theatre. How you doing? Yes, really nice to meet you. I'm going to chat for 5 minutes before the main event that you're all here to see joins you. Jason Daniels. Yes, you pumped and excited? Love it. Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming and supporting live comedy. We love you all from the deepest of our hearts. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you. I hope you have a lovely night. Cool. So I'm Josh. Really nice to be here. As you can probably tell from my accent, I wasn't born in Australia. My dad's from England and my mum was from India. Yeah, and having a South Asian parent, as some of you might know, means you get punished slightly differently. Yeah. I became an expert at dodging the sandals that were thrown at my head. It's a big problem. Indian households rate higher than even the Northern Territory for death by crocs. Growing up, my family loved using rhymes and alliteration. Always rhymes and alliteration. We'd say cute things to each other at dinner, like, "More peas please, Louise," and "Slide the sauce over, Susie." Then my uncle had his accident and we stopped. Graham was gagged and garroted in a gangbang with a group of gay German guys in Gloucester. He died doing what he loved. Great turnout at the funeral. I've had a big 2025. I've made 3 changes. I quit drinking, I had a vasectomy, and I went into therapy. Thank you very much. It's been amazing. Like, no hangovers, no kids, no worries. Changed my life, that court order. I had my first ever sober relationship. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Mindfulness is great, but you can be too present. My girlfriend actually dumped me 2 days before my vasectomy. Yeah, I got a text on the morning and I thought she'd changed her mind, but it was just a reminder to shave my scrotum. When I was in the clinic, I saw a leaflet for World Vasectomy Day, shout out to those who celebrate, and it got me thinking about awareness and visibility days. Now, I think they're super important, and I wanted to take a quick poll, if that's all right. So please be honest, did anyone know that last Tuesday was World Youth Skills Day? No? Fair enough. And did anyone know that September is Supplier Diversity Month? No? Cool, and thank you. And that's the problem. No one's aware of awareness days. Like, how do we fix it? Like, do they need their own day? I don't think we ignore them, there are just so many, right? Like, who knew March the 22nd is World Coma Day? Yeah, no one's conscious about that one. And no judgment, don't feel bad. People get turned off. So some of them survived. Let me tell you what happened when I went to the psychiatrist. Have any of you just popped quickly to the shops for one thing and come home with like 20 items? Yeah, right? So I just nipped in to grab a quick ADHD diagnosis and I came out with a trolley full of mental illness. Initially he was quite vague and didn't want to diagnose me. I thought it was straightforward, but the psych was having none of it. He told me to go online and buy a book, hoping I'd arrive at the answer myself. I'll tell you guys the name of the book, see if you can pick up any clues from the title, yeah? It was called The Covert Passive Aggressive Narcissist. Yeah, subtle, hey? Also the way he delivered the news, it's quite covert and passive aggressive. Maybe I should buy him a book, The Socially Inept Psych. But finally I was diagnosed. And I have ADHD and NPD, which is Narcissistic Personality Disorder. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I know it sounds bad, I know, but honestly, it was such a relief to finally learn why I've always struggled paying attention and had difficulty focusing. Yeah, it wasn't my fault at all. I was just easily distracted by my own beauty. But this news did come as a huge shock to me, to be honest, because I've always thought of myself as a nice person. But reading the book was actually incredible. To learn about the lives and experiences of people living with this condition really resonated. It was like for the first time seeing myself in a mirror, which I love! Okay, guys, you are a beautiful crowd. Are you ready for the main reason you're here? The only reason you're here. All right. So put your hands together, make some noise, go wild, go crazy for Jason Daniel.
I just wished I could walk into every room and that happened. That would be amazing. Thank you so much for coming, guys. This is amazing. This is so cool that you're all here. Thank you so much. You know, this is my first solo show, and you know, who knows where this will go. Maybe I'll have some success. Maybe one day I'll become famous. Who knows? You know, 20 years from now, you know, you might bump into me in the street and you'll be like, Jason, I saw you at your first show. And, you know, I just want you to know in that moment, and I mean this sincerely, that I will probably ignore you. Okay? Okay? All right? If you're not famous, I am not interested, okay? Okay? I'm only interacting with other celebrities, all right? Okay? I'll tell you one celebrity I won't be interacting with. Jason Derulo, okay? Okay? So for those who don't know, so Jason Derulo, he loves to sing his name at the beginning of his act. And I went and I studied performing arts. I studied acting some years ago. At a performing arts college, there were singers, there were dancers, there were musicians. And every day, at least once a week, I'd be walking down the hallway and I'd be crossing paths with a singing student. And just as we were about to cross, they would stop, they would turn, they would look me in the eye and they would just sing, Jason Derulo, in my face. And this used to drive me insane. I used to just think to myself, that is not my name. I am not Jason Derulo. I am not an African-American R&B singer. I know it's easy to get us confused. Clearly we look alike. I know that all of you guys, you bought tickets and you thought, well, it says comedy, but clearly this man is an R&B singer. So, I mean, yeah, it used to drive me nuts and I couldn't work out why. I was like, why does this annoy me? I shouldn't care about this. And I realized it's because somebody else is giving me an alter ego. I got no problem with nicknames or alter egos, but the difference is that I decide what they are, not you, okay? And so that's what I'm going to take you through this evening, is 4 different alter egos that I've had over the years and how they reflect who I am. So the first, intriguing, this is deep, what's he talking about? So the first one is Tiffany. Yep, that's right, I'm not happy with Jason Derulo, but Tiffany, yes please, I'll have 2 of those, thank you. So, when I was at high school, there was an announcement in the school notices for theatre sports, and I think you guys all know what that is, but it's, you know, improv, whose line is anyway, that kind of thing. And I turned up, and I was the only one my age, and there were a whole bunch of other students there who were 2 years older. They all knew each other, had been doing it for a few years. And one of them, he came over and he introduced himself, and he asked me who I was. And I don't know why, but I just looked him in the eye and I said, my name's Tiffany. I enjoy long walks on the beach, candlelit dinners, and I'm looking for a long-term relationship. I'm 13 years old, why am I saying this? Who knows? But from this point onwards, this group of people knew me as Tiffany. It was just normal, like, morning Tiffany, hey, what class have you got now, Tiffany? Hey, we're all going to the canteen at lunch, Tiffany, you want to join us? And so this name represents to me that I'm a performer. Like, I've always been a performer. It's just since from the earliest age, it's just been in my blood. And like, I remember like when I was at primary school, we had 3 rows of brick classrooms, and in the middle row, maybe about half a metre up, there was just this one brick missing in the middle. It was like the bricklayers had forgotten to put it in. I was really baffled by this. And then I had this brainwave and I ran to my classroom, I got a pen and paper and I wrote, my bum is stuck, please help me. And then I went in, and this is on my lunch break, and I just sort of sat there like this with and as other students walked past, I just went, can you please help me, my bum is stuck? And I'd get them to be like, pull, and doing this little act routine where I was getting them to pull me out. Why? It's just who I am, okay? As I said, I studied acting. I've also studied movies. I studied screenwriting and directing at film school, and I kind of feel like, you know, I'm a student of cinema. I love movies. I love movies from all around the world. There's one genre that I do struggle with a little bit, and that's Bollywood movies. I don't know, Josh, I feel like I can get your buy-in on this. They're a little different from Western films. So, what was that, sorry? That is my problem. I will learn to dance, okay? Maybe I'd appreciate them more, who knows? But, so if you haven't seen a Bollywood movie, so what they do is, it's just, they have like a different set of rules that don't seem to apply to other films. So like, there'll be like a young Indian couple, they're in the garden, they're not meant to be together. It's like a Romeo and Juliet thing, and they're hiding, and she'll look at him and she'll say something like, Rajiv, I am a princess, and you are a peasant. We are not supposed to be together, but I cannot deny my heart. And there's this beautiful moment, and they're about to go in for the kiss. And then just as they're about to lock lips, you hear a ding, ding, ding. And then instead of kissing, they break apart and they start dancing. And then 20 dancers all come out and they all dance at the same time. And I think, hang on, stop. Were they in the garden the whole time just going, okay guys, what we're going to do, when I press play on the iPod, we're all going to do dance routine number 8, okay? And remember, we are dancing for love. I mean, like, how do you get that job? Wanted, creepy stalkers to hide in garden with young Indian couples. Yeah, yes, sounds like the job for me. All right. I think being in the performing arts, I don't know, some of you guys are probably in the arts as well. You know that it's not the most steady of careers. I've had lots of other jobs. I haven't always wanted to be there. In fact, most of the time I haven't wanted to be there. My very first ever job, I worked doing commission-only sales. I don't know if you guys have ever been in a mall or you're in a shopping centre and there's just a guy on a booth with a tablet and he's trying to sign you up for stuff and you're really terrified and you run away from them. Yeah, that was me. You were running away from me. And I just remember it was just this mad job, and I did it because I needed a job, and but I found ways to perform. I remember one day, I was on a late night, I'd been there for 12 hours, and I just decided for no reason I'd be Irish. So we were signing people up to charity, and I'd say, well, you see what we're doing here is we're just trying to help people to have the basic necessities in life, just so they can live a better life in developing countries, if you know what I'm trying to say to you here. We just need $1 a day. And I stopped this young woman and she's buying it. She's totally believing me, and I think, I can't believe I'm getting away with this. And she says to me out of the blue, she says, oh, what do you think of Frank McCourt? I had no idea what she was talking about. And she saw the look on my face and she said, you don't know what I'm talking about, do you? And I thought, this is going to be the most awkward thing in the world. How do you explain that? I was just pretending to be Irish, like in the workplace. And thankfully she said, he wrote Angela's Ashes. I'd heard of it. I didn't know what it was about, and I just said the first thing that came into my mind. I said, well, you know, we read it at school, but I wasn't listening. And she believed me. So to this day, that woman, wherever she is, she thinks I'm Irish. So that's the first nickname. My second one is Monkey Man. So when I was at intermediate school, for a laugh, I used to run around and pretend to be a monkey. I would walk up to girls and I'd just act like a monkey. I'd be like, and I'd go up and pick nits out of the hair and eat them. And for me, this represents, sometimes I feel like I'm a bit of a monkey that I've escaped the zoo. Like I've, stolen some clothing off a washing line and I'm just sort of walking around amongst the humans, pretending to be one, going, day 47, they still haven't noticed. I just feel, I'm just baffled by life, There's so many things that confuse me. Like, do you ever have this where people ask questions they already know the answer to? So I'm an asthmatic, right? So anytime I use my inhaler, I swear there's always somebody who says, are you an asthmatic? It's like, no, I do it for the sex appeal. Get ready, ladies. Here comes Mr. Wheezy. Mr. Darcy. He's got nothing on this guy. Like, why would I have it? I always find different terminologies throw me, like American terminologies. They have, mom instead of mum, soda instead of fizzy drink. You know that their word for coriander is cilantro? That threw me. I thought, that does not sound like a herb. To me, that sounds like a surfer dude's nickname. My name's Tony, but everybody calls me Cilantro. Hey, the party can start. Cilantro's here. All right. Shaka-naka-laka bra, dude. Do you ever find South African slang? That's a bit of an interesting one. I think there might be some South Africans in the building. The word now. Now does not mean now. Now means in about an hour's time, right? So I'm amazed that more South Africans aren't like in accidents. You're in the workplace and there's an emergency and you run and you go, we've got to go now. And they're like, okay, all right, I'll be with you just now. Okay. And you're like, no, we've got to go now. All right, don't get your knickers in a twist, my boy. All right, I'll be with you just now, okay? All right? And then suddenly, the building's on fire and they're like, hey, yeah, it's warm in here, eh? Reminds me of Joburg. Where are all my Australian colleagues? There's so many things that confuse me, like the English language just baffles me. Like, there's certain phrases that we use all the time. they don't really make sense, but just because we say them all the time, we don't think about it. Like a badass chick. Have you ever heard that term? You know, like Michelle Rodriguez in Fast and the Furious. She's a badass chick. But the literal translation to that is poor quality buttocks chicken. I don't think she'd appreciate being described that way. And I think you'd find out why she's a badass chick if you told her that. I think, have a safe flight. Have you ever heard that one? That's interesting. People say, have a safe flight. And I think, I have no control over the situation. I don't know what you're expecting. Do they think that I'm just going to burst into the cockpit, slap the pilot, grab the controls and just turn it into a nosedive and then suddenly have this realization and go, you know this is wrong, Jason. Auntie Mildred was right. You should have a safe flight. I've found there's times in life when I've just had nothing. I've had no words. Like, I think I've been described that I've got the gift of the gab and I can kind of talk through anything. I remember I was on the date with this woman, and first date, we're at this Italian restaurant, and just out of nowhere she said to me, yeah, I don't think you're very funny, but you are kind and humble. Okay, all right, thank you for that. I don't know how to respond to that. I remember I worked in this call centre in New Zealand, and there was a really cool bakery around the corner run by this lovely Cambodian family. And normally I'd go into my morning tea and get something to eat. One morning I went in before my shift, and I walked in and the mother was behind the till and she said, you're ugly. I was like, I'm sorry, what? She said, you're ugly. I was like, I'm so sorry. Could you just say that one more time? She said, you're ugly today. Normally you'll come late. I'm like, oh, I'm early today. Yes, I'm early. I'm thinking I'm giving you money. There's no need to insult me. I remember I was dating this woman and I met her nieces, and you know, I wanted to make a good first impression, and I like kids, and I was talking to the 6-year-old and I bent down and I said, oh, that's a pretty dress you're wearing. Now, she didn't respond to that. She just sort of looked at me for a second and she went, you're very short for a man. Okay, well, I can only apologise. I'll try to be taller next time. I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that. It's just these things baffle me. I don't know if news reports, they baffle me. Do you ever try and watch stuff? News reports in New Zealand are hilarious because they always have like the international stuff, and it's like, you know, war in Ukraine. President of the United States says this. And in Wellington, there was a Scrabble championship last night. The whiplash you get from that, just like going from serious to silly, like, or the British ones are quite interesting because they always have these very overly elaborate sort of terminology. You know, there'll be like a war correspondent in the Middle East and they'll say, as peace negotiations once again break down, surely the high heel of justice has fallen off the foot of humanity. Jason Daniels, Baghdad. Am I really watching this? What's going on? So yeah, that's just a taste of some of the things that confuse me. I don't have any answers for them, but hey, problem shared is a problem halved, I guess. So there you go. My next one was El Presidente. So at high school, I was a student leader, and for a laugh, I decided to call myself El Presidente. And when you think of like El Presidente, that's kind of like the tough sort of Latin American dictator, you know, the big beard, the cigar, the aviators. And for me, this kind of represents my relationship with like being a man. You know, I think I sort of, you know, really macho culture. I don't get it. You know, when you see guys and like, oh yeah, rugby, chainsaws, and I was just, it's just ridiculous. You know, I can't relate to that, and I feel like the best way to describe my masculinity is kind of like the New Zealand military. Like on the surface, it looks competent, but when you get a bit closer, it starts to fall apart. Okay, it's a bit smaller than the Australian military, so basically, like our army is 12 men on sheep back with Nerf guns. Okay, the general rides a llama so he can see what's going on. Our special forces are Kiwis, just little Kiwi birds, and we just fire them out of howitzers. I mean, they're stealth because they're nocturnal, but that's kind of where that's the only advantage they really have. So yeah, I just feel like I'm not the most manly of guys. There's certain things that I should know, or there's certain, like I'm supposed to like cars. I don't know anything about cars. You know when guys will stand around in a circle and they're like, you know, they get into the deep jargon and the technical knowledge? I have no idea what's going on. You know, on the surface I'm like, On the inside I'm going, what? Like, this is what I hear when I hear guys talking about it. I'll be like, oh yeah, it's got a turbo thrust fuel injected Velociraptor spark plug with a Kazakhstan Dolphin fin gauge extension cylinder. A 12 gauge Vanderpump crankshaft pistons, and of course you need an Age of Ultron engine block with a tomato sauce protein powder multiplex receptionist to engage with the flux capacitor. And I'm like, Yes. Yes, you do. And I try and join in, I'll be like, yes, they're the good ones. And they're like, no, they're the bad ones. They're 6 years old. That's what I meant. Yes. I think the way I look at cars, the way a caveman would, just, oh, wheelie, wheelie, go round, round. Oh, go fast, brum, brum. I think there's certain things, I think, being a guy, not everything, but I think there are some things that are harder as a man. There's certain things, I feel like complimenting men. You know, like if a woman puts up like a profile picture on social media, you know, all her female friends and family will be like, oh, you're looking so gorgeous, hun. Oh, you're such a stunner, such a beautiful lady. You know, and like if a guy put up a profile picture, like if I was to choose a friend at random, like, I don't know, you know, not somebody that I thought about 2 weeks ago when I was practicing this in my room, like, I don't know, like Eric. If Eric was to put up a new profile picture, what if I commented on that and I said, what a beefcake. You are such a stud muffin. Look at those guns. Cece is one lucky lady. Like, you're acting like you like it now, but I think you'd be quite uncomfortable with that. I think Cece would be uncomfortable with it too. I think everybody would be uncomfortable with that. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it doesn't work. No. I think, you know, as a guy, like as a white straight man, I think people often think that my life's just been really easy. That, you know, doors automatically open, that, you know, everything's handed to me on a silver platter, but that's not true. Like, I have my struggles. Like, it's hard work suppressing minorities. I mean, I want an unfair advantage. I want things to be easier for me, but I don't want to earn it, okay? I am joking, obviously, okay? I feel like most of you got that. I feel like some of you might have been looking at me like, I thought Jason was a nice guy. It turns out he's really racist. But in all seriousness, like, you know, I wanted to make a point about, you know, equality and stuff. And so, you know, we should all be equal, but, you know, seriously, women should be paid less than men. In fact, women shouldn't even be in the workplace. No, I'm joking. What I like about that joke is that my boss is a woman, and my boss's boss is a woman, and my boss's boss's boss is a woman. So, guess we'll see if I have a job on Monday. So, it's not like this is being recorded or anything, is it? So, no, I'm joking, obviously. I'm making an ironic point. I hope you guys know that. And the last nickname that I had is Princess Tiffany. Now, this is different from Tiffany, okay? All right? Tiffany got an upgrade, all right? She got promoted, all right? So when I grew up in a very conservative home. We went to church every Sunday. My parents are English. They're kind of very typically English, you know. Oh, yes, let's not talk about it. Yes, let's all just put it under the rug. Okay. Oh, your head's fallen off. Well, perhaps don't do that next time, you know. And, you know, there's certain things that even like growing up, my dad had zero tolerance for swearing. And my mum, it was a please and thank you for everything. And I feel like, for me, even now I'm in my late 30s, I still feel like there's certain things like, oh, I swore, that was naughty, wasn't it, you know? And like, there's certain things I just don't want to do, like nudism. I'm like, no, I'm good. Public nudity, no. But like, did you know that, like I learned this the other day, in some parts of the world, like in Germany, nudism is really popular? This blew my mind. Because like, when you think of Germans and you think of like, you know, like they're very fastidious, they're very hardworking, they're very serious, and I'm like, that and nudity, those two things don't go together. Like, you know, when you think of like a German in the workplace, it's like, you know, we must work very hard, we must be very serious, we must do things under budget and under time, we must not laugh, we must not smile. Oh, hey guys, it's 5 o'clock, let's get naked. Guys, who wants to take off their clothes and drink some schnapps with me? Guys, put down your tools, it's nudie time, let's go, come on. Oh, and apparently nude hiking is really popular. What? Like, the last place that I'd want to go is the top of a cold mountain naked, okay? Speaking as a man, you know, there are certain parts of the male body that are less pronounced, let's put it that way, okay? How does that conversation go? Yes, I know I look very tiny, but I promise you at the bottom of the valley I'm much larger, okay? I mean, oh, and apparently in the main, like in Berlin, in the main garden, like the main, like, you know, reserve, there's a nudist area. Can you imagine just encountering your boss there? And then, like, you see them on Monday, you go, back to the report. I think, as I said, like, my parents are English. I grew up in quite a conservative home. And I don't think I actually explained why Princess Tiffany was the nickname. No, I didn't. All right, well, can you just erase what you just heard over the last few minutes and just go back, okay? So, Princess Tiffany, I was at a school, at a church youth camp, and we had on the Saturday night, we had like a big dinner where it was like a dance and a dinner, and we had to dress up, and the theme was pirates, princesses, and personalities. And I went as a princess, and I was the ugliest princess you've ever seen. I had this horrible manky blonde wig. I had a big 1950s pink dancing skirt. You know, the ones from Greece. I had a different pink coloured top, so it clashed. I had soccer socks and sneakers and a lime green shawl. So it was horrible, right? And my youth leaders had no idea what to do with me. And so that to me is kind of representing me as my upbringing. And so, yeah. And anyways, the last part that I think that really kind of sinks in with this is that, you know, like I say, growing up being English, my parents are English, we used to watch on Christmas Day, the Queen would do her address. I don't know if anybody's watched this. I don't know if you remember. So obviously the King is doing it now, but you know, for my whole life, it was the Queen was doing it. And she'd do this very formal, very stuffy thing where she would say something like, "This year marks my 70th Jubilee. This was a great opportunity for people all over the Commonwealth to come together and celebrate all of the technological, societal, and cultural changes that have taken place during my reign." And you think, okay, well that's cool. I like what you're saying, Queenie, but what I would have loved is what if she just got a bit drunk and said whatever's in her head? Can you imagine that? You know, she was getting on a bit you know how old people, they just don't care anymore, they say anything. Can you imagine what that would have been like? I am the Queen. Why do we have eyebrows? Did you know that Queen's birthday is not my actual birthday? I think at this point somebody would jump in, I don't know, like a director or somebody, like, "Your Majesty, please, you must read the script." Shut up! Big Lizzie's in charge. I own the Commonwealth. My face is on money, not yours. I think at that point then Prince Charles would jump in, he's like, "I'm going to be doing these next." He's like, "Mother, please, you must read them out." Shut up, big ears! You're as bad as ginger balls in California. I am the Queen, do-do-do-do. This is my new way of speaking. I would have loved to seen that just once before she'd passed away. Maybe I'm the only one, who knows? Guys, that's pretty much been my show. You guys have been amazing. A big thank you to Josh for opening up for me. And my name is not Jason Derulo. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Have a great night.